Just ahead on CTV News.
Prince George's County Public Schools are opening on a 2-hour delay today with students walking back to the classroom. I'll have that story coming up on CTV News.
And
a Prince George's County woman will spend the next few years behind bars for her role in a high-speed crash that claimed the lives of 3 people. I'm Jonathan Hunter. I was in court today, and I have the latest on the sentencing coming up.
plus,
A Prince George's County Council member is throwing her hat in the ring for Congress. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
these stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for February 4th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Thanks so much for joining us. Students in Prince George's County made their return to the classroom today after being out of school for a week.
The Prince George's County Public School System announced Tuesday doors will be open under a 2-hour delay. CTV's Brandon Williams has more on that story.
Today, students in Prince George's County returned to the classroom on a 2-hour delay, and I even had a chance to talk to some parents about how they feel about sending their kids back to school.
I really want to say so. I've been trying to manage them at home and trying to get them to do some schoolwork. So as for my son, he was ready.
Yes, they need to be in school. Virtual would have been better, and they should have been more prepared, for sure.
A mixed reaction as PGCPS opened its doors after being closed for a week due to icy road conditions. Yvette Takwa said snow removal efforts have been noticeable over at Lake Arbor Elementary.
I see they've done much work as of Sunday when I got here. There was no way for me to even approach this area, but it's much better today. So we appreciate everything that PG County has done, and we thank God they are back in school.
At Charles Herbert Flowers High School, Principal Gorman Brown said everything is passable and students are happy to be back.
Our parking lots are all cleared. Our entry points are all cleared. All of our sidewalks that lead to and away from our school community are completely passable. Everybody enjoys a good snow day, right? But once you start dragging into more than a couple of days and a couple of weeks, kids have communicated via email. They're ready to come back to school. And this morning, the faces were smiling. They were happy to be back in school.
Over at Largo High School, one parent tells me she dropped her son off this morning, but still believes the roads need some more TLC.
The streets are still messed up. The sidewalks are still messed up. Like, I just saw a kid walking in the street because there's no sidewalk. Like, this is dangerous.
So virtual learning would have been a better solution?
Absolutely, especially in a situation like this. They wouldn't have had to been out of school all last week if they would have just did virtual learning.
And as a reminder, the county wants to let students know that they will not be penalized for absences if their neighborhood roads and streets are not passable for school buses, or even if their parents feel uncomfortable bringing them to school. In Springdale, Brandon Williams, CTV News.
Yeah, really great to hear from some of those parents. Brandon, thanks so much. PGCPS just announced schools will be on a 2-hour delay for the rest of the week. They will be holding a virtual meeting tonight at 5:30 discussing virtual learning opportunities for students in the future case of a winter storm. And a link to that meeting is on PGCPS's website. Meanwhile, Montgomery County leaders are admitting their response to last week's winter storm missed the mark after residents complained about snow-covered roads, icy sidewalks, and slow cleanup. During a county council meeting, residents said untreated ice, some are calling snowcrete, left streets impassable and forced students to miss days of school. Officials blamed equipment failures and water main breaks for delays and say they're working on fixes as cleanup continues.
And the cold temperatures across the region are putting pipes at risk of bursting. I spoke with a WSSC spokesperson who shares how you can protect your pipes at home from damage. With more frigid temperatures expected this weekend, water officials are urging homeowners to take steps now to avoid a costly winter problem, pipe bursts.
There's more cold weather coming this weekend, So the best thing you can do is protect those pipes inside your house.
Riggins says the first step in protecting your home is finding your main water shutoff valve.
That valve is what you need to know works in the event that a pipe in your home were to break. Because if that happens, the first thing you want to do is close that valve so you stop the flow of water and minimize the damage to your home.
When temperatures drop below freezing, water inside pipes can freeze and expand, putting pressure on plumbing, especially in older homes or unheated areas.
Pipes like to be 55 degrees or warmer. So if you have pipes in an area of your home that's not heated, maybe open that door so that a little warmth from the house can get to those pipes.
Riggins also recommends letting faucet water run on a trickle when you're home and putting foam insulation around exposed pipes. But if a pipe does freeze, officials say there are safe ways to handle it.
Don't use a blowtorch or anything like that. What you want to do is maybe take a hairdryer to the pipe that's frozen, open a cold water faucet closest to that pipe to hopefully relieve some of the pressure. And when in doubt, call a registered plumber.
While not every home will have problems, officials say a little preparation now. And for more tips on protecting your pipes this winter, visit wsscwater.com/winterready. And a Prince George's County woman responsible for the fatal car crash of 3 Wise High School graduates received her sentence today.
Jonathan Hunter was in court today and has the latest.
It was emotional today inside the courtroom as family and friends of the victims and the defendant spoke before the judge handed down the sentence. Corey Clayman herself fought back tears several times as she apologized to the family for the absolute tragedy. Corey Klingman will be behind bars for the next few years for her role in the July 2024 crash that claimed the lives of Kyrie Jackson, Isaiah Hazel, and Anthony Litton Jr. All were Wise High School graduates who played football. Jackson had just been drafted to play for the Minnesota Vikings. Klingman was charged with 3 counts of negligent homicide. The judge sentenced her according to the plea agreement, which was 3 years.
Losing children that are in their early 20s at the prime of their lives, it's devastating. And it's because of choices that we don't have to make.
Family members of the victims spoke on behalf of the young men's character. They asked the judge to sentence Klingman to the fullest extent of the law. While Klingman also had family and friends who spoke on her behalf, saying she truly was remorseful for her actions and was close friends with the victims. They asked for leniency. Since the incident, Klingman had been on house arrest. Klingman's attorney argued for her not to serve any additional jail time, given the fact she had no prior criminal record and worked in the community as a cosmetologist.
We did feel like there was an argument that suggested that her continued detention within the community was appropriate. The judge felt that the punishment portion of the sentencing consideration outweighed leaving her within the community.
On that night in 2024, Klingman was driving in one car while the 3 football stars were driving in another. Both cars were traveling well over 100 miles per hour on Route 4. Klingman's attorney argued his client wasn't the only one at fault.
And the perception was that she was at fault for everyone's death, although the evidence certainly speaks to a different story. There were 2 cars that were traveling excessive rates of speed.
Prince George's County State's Attorney Tara Jackson recognized that while both cars were traveling extremely fast, the 3 men are no longer here. She believes Klingman should be held accountable and is hoping this case will deter people from drinking and driving at high rates of speed.
There has to be accountability. And I'm hoping that this situation will deter at least one person from getting behind the wheel of a car and driving over 100 miles per hour.
The judge called this an absolute tragedy, but says there needs to be accountability for drinking and driving at a high rate of speed. Klingman will receive credit for 377 days of time already served. In Upper Marlboro, I'm Jonathan Hunter for CTV News.
Once Klingman is released from jail, she will have to serve 3 years probation and complete 80 hours of community service. And a Prince George's County elected official is looking to represent Marylanders in Congress.
That's right. Walla Blegay has her eyes set on a long-held congressional seat that has recently come up for grabs. CTV's Katara Jones is standing by in Upper Marlboro with more.
Walla Blegay, she's the newly appointed at-large county council member, but now she says she has her sights set on Congress.
This is a people-powered campaign.
Walla Blegay kicks off her campaign for Maryland's 5th congressional district today. The seat she is after has been held by longtime Congressman Steny Hoyer, who announced his retirement last month. Blegay didn't get Hoyer's endorsement. Instead, he decided to back Maryland Delegate Adrian Biafo for the job. Despite this, she's excited about the momentum around her campaign.
I'm so excited, so much support here. It is amazing, and it just shows that people believe that I will be their fighter.
Blegay, a Democrat, is receiving support from 5 county council members, including Vice Chair Crystal Oriatha and County Executive Aisha Braveboy.
Walla understands that there's going to be a balance. She's going to negotiate. She's going to work across the aisle to get things done. But what she's not going to do is sacrifice her principles. She's not going to sacrifice her values, and she's not going to sacrifice the people who she represents.
No one can sway her by a paycheck. No one can promise her money to do the right thing. And we have to now send her to the Hill to be that type of voice.
Blegay represented District 6 on the county council. Then she left that role after she was appointed to the vacant at-large position back on December 29th. If she were to win the congressional seat, that would leave a vacancy on the council, which has seen several changes in the last couple of months.
I didn't expect this to open, but when it opened, people asked me to run. They said, you should do this. And at first I thought, I was like, this is a sacrifice, but that's okay. A sacrifice to protect your community is worth it.
Blegay will face off with other Democrats vying for that 5th congressional seat when Maryland has its Democratic primary, which is set for June 23rd. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And joining the growing list of Democrats vying for that 5th congressional seat includes former U.S. Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, who defended the building on January 6, 2021.
And Prince George's police are investigating a deadly shooting in Oxon Hill last night. Officers arrived at the 6100 block of Oxon Hill Road and found 47-year-old Ricardo Vance out in the cold, suffering from a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Investigators are working to find a suspect and a motive. A $25,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest and indictment in this case.
All right, you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Still to come, the General Assembly is in full swing.
After the break, find out which bills are seeing movement in the Senate and how it may affect your day-to-day. We'll be right back.
Everyone likes rooting for their favorite team with some friends. But if you plan on drinking, don't drive. Designate a sober driver or schedule a rideshare for a safe ride home. Be the make-a-plan driver. Be the driver who saves lives.
Welcome back. As the newly appointed president and CEO of the county's Economic Development Corporation, Ingrid Watson is already making big changes. According to the Washington Business Journal, since Watson's arrival, members on the leadership team have left. This includes the former interim CEO, Ebony Stocks, and the Vice President of Policy and Public Relations, Lori Valentine. The Journal reports that Watson requested and received their resignations on January 20th. As of now, it's unclear if Watson will fill the vacancies. And the County Council officially welcomes 2 new members to the body. Tim Adams, the former mayor of Bowie, joins the group as the newly appointed District 4 council member. He fills the vacancy that was left by Ingrid Watson, who now runs the Prince George's County Economic Development. Daniel Hunter, who was also appointed to the council and will represent the residents of District 6, she will serve the remainder of Walla Blegay's term, who is now an at-large member.
My appointment to the District 6 Council seat is not about my personal ambition or my individual recognition. It's about service. stability, stewardship, and for the residents who call District 6 their home.
I'm very excited. You know, it's an emotional moment. It's one that reflects, you know, the magnitude of what we're doing, you know, here in the county, and what I look forward to working with all the council members.
Meanwhile, many community members have criticized the council's recent appointment process.
And now that the Qualified Data Center Task Force has presented its report to the County Council, the next phase begins, considering legislation for data centers in Prince George's County. Council members will be using the report, which some county leaders say was not thorough, as a starting point to draft legislation setting clear guidelines for data center development. Councilwoman Shayla Adams Stafford says if data centers are coming to Prince George's, she and her colleagues will have to fight to make sure communities are protected.
I have been adamantly opposed to data centers being in residential areas. I feel like they should not be near schools, churches, really anywhere where we have a large population of people, because we are still not clear on the effects or the impacts given the strain we have right now on our current grid. Any data centers that come into this region, I really do feel like they should absorb the costs, the added costs that would be traditionally passed on to consumers for any rise in utility rates that folks may see.
The councilwoman also says any future legislation must include strict regulations, including limits on size, distance from residential areas, environmental impact, and local hiring requirements. In the meantime, County Executive Aisha Braveboy has extended the data center moratorium through April 30th to give the County Council more time to consider legislation. And switching gears now to some emergency repairs happening at BWI yesterday after the FAA ordered a midday ground stop. This happened around noon due to the airport experiencing runway issues for the past 2 days. A spokesperson from the airport says the personnel found a pavement failure at the intersection of the two primary runways. One of the runways was reopened around 1:30 p.m. and further inspections took place overnight. So travelers planning to fly this week are urged to check their flight status.
Well, the House passed a bill that would redraw the current congressional map. In a press conference yesterday, House Speaker Jocelyn Peña-Melnick spoke about the mid-cycle update. The new map changes the 1st congressional district, making it reach across the Chesapeake Bay into new areas like Anne Arundel and Howard counties. But in a press conference Tuesday, Senate President Bill Ferguson said the legislation is not his top priority.
We laid out back in October where the Senate Democratic Caucus stood after lots of conversation and discussion, and nothing really has changed. The Maryland Constitution is still the Maryland Constitution, and so we have not shifted in where we believe things are, and so we got to focus on the things that matter the most. We got to do the policies that we know are impacting Marylanders. That's why Senate Bill 1 was the first bill we passed, is that we have to do the things that we know will have an actual impact to protect Marylanders against the abuses that we've seen at the federal level.
So, Mr. President, I'm just
the window of opportunity closed on this a while ago.
And while the Maryland House of Delegates already voted yes on the congressional map, the state Senate still needs to approve it before it goes to the governor to become a law. And Maryland lawmakers have given final approval to legislation banning agreements between local police and federal immigration agencies. The House and Senate passed identical bills by wide margins Tuesday. The bills would end so-called 287G agreements in about 9 Maryland counties, limiting local law enforcement's role in federal immigration enforcement. Delegate J. Sandy Barlett spoke in a press conference about witnesses that have come forward expressing to lawmakers the fear that they have.
There were several witnesses who at that time spoke of their fear, and their fear was legitimate. They spoke of fear of going to school, that we had young and old to come in, fear of going to school, fear of going to their places of worship, fear of even going to a courthouse to do any type of civic duty. So the fear has been very much articulated. We heard the fear, we listened, and we responded.
And supporters say the move protects immigrant communities, while opponents argue it could impact public safety.
And the government is back open, but the next immigration showdown is already on the clock. President Donald Trump has signed a $1.2 trillion funding bill, ending a short partial shutdown. The deal funds most federal agencies through the year, but gives the Department of Homeland Security only 2 more weeks of money, setting up tense negotiations over immigration enforcement. Republican leaders say talks will focus on sanctuary cities and enforcement authority, while Democrats are pushing for tighter oversight of immigration agents and new warrant requirements. Lawmakers now face a 2-week deadline to strike a deal. And still to come on CTV News.
The Super Bowl is this Sunday, and if you still need snacks, one company is slashing prices ahead of the big game.
Find out why and who's offering the discount after the break.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
After a decades-long ban and the passage of a new bill from the county council, pit bulls are welcome back in Prince George's County. The new law allowing pit bull-type terriers to be legally owned and adopted went into effect on Monday. Those who wish to become future owners are required to go through training and pay a $25 permit fee on top of the standard county license fee. For more information, visit environment.pgc.us/pitbulls. While the area's latest snowstorm may have left humans struggling, but wildlife not so much. The same way we might pack on a few pounds during the holidays, mammals do the same thing ahead of time. Many mammals rely on fat reserves to keep themselves warm and sustain them through the winter. Wildlife experts strongly discourage anyone from attempting to feed wild animals, saying it spreads diseases and could get animals used to being around people.
To address consumer frustrations over rising food prices, PepsiCo has announced it's reducing the prices of its popular snack brands by up to nearly 15%. The new retail pricing will include products like Lay's, Doritos, Cheetos, and Tostitos will be rolled out this week just in time for the Super Bowl snack buying season. PepsiCo Foods U.S. CEO Rachel Ferdinando said that people shouldn't have to choose between great taste and staying within their budget. Meanwhile, Walmart is celebrating after becoming the first retailer ever to hit $1 trillion in market valuation, due to offering services that appeal to higher income customers while still retaining its core base of lower income shoppers. Walmart's stock was able to surge 468% over the past decade. This new achievement places the retailer among the ranks of big tech heavyweights, such as NVIDIA and Alphabet.
And now it's time for our Black History Month Spotlight. And this one is extra special because it is also this icon's birthday today.
And not only are we honoring her, but so is a popular transit system in the area. Can you guess who it is? It's a civil rights pioneer, Rosa Parks. Back in 1955, she refused to give up her seat on a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama, to a white man and was arrested. This moment in history led to the advancement of the civil rights movement.
Today, Metro is reserving a seat on each of their buses and trains to honor her legacy. This would have been her 113th birthday.
So I am asking that if we, as citizens, as Christians or whatever religion that we choose, that we work together in harmony and love and peace and try to build and not destroy, try to cherish and not discourage.
Such a legend there. All right, if you're ready to see some sports, we know just the guy to help you out.
That's right, Simon Bugs has that and more with our Wednesday sports page.
What's going on, sports fans? Stay right there because coming right up, an exciting recap on the UMD Spring Sports Media Day that took place earlier today. Find out what the coaches had to say when we come back. Stay tuned.
My opponent is completely disregarding almost half of my arguments which I responded to.
Communities must step up.
Laws
and
alone
protest
cannot
against this
stop a
normalization.
bullet.
Well, I completely disagree.
Point of inquiry, do you guys even realize that the #1 killer of children and teens are gun injuries?
You're probably starting to realize now, this is not a debate.
There is no adult in this earth that wants children to die.
I worry for my kids.
Okay, everybody, it's time for your Wednesday sports page. Let's get into it. Now, first up, since it's Black History Month, it's important to honor the African Americans that paved the way for us and made such a huge impact on the world. And today, CTV Sports shines a light on the first black players to play in the NFL, Fritz Pollard and Bobby Marshall. Pollard joined the NFL, which was previously called the American Professional Football Association, back in 1920. And in that 1920 season, Pollard led the Akron Pros to an undefeated record to win the league's first crown as a tailback. Pollard was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 2005. And as for Marshall, he played for the Rock Island Independence in 1920 as well at 40 years old, joining Pollard as the only black players in the league at the time. Marshall made history twice that season as the game Rock Island played against the St. Paul Ideals, which they won 48-0, was the first game played in league history. Marshall played one more season in 1925 for the Duluth Kellys. Moving on to some news out of College Park, the University of Maryland hosted their annual Spring Sports Media Day earlier today. Coaches and student athletes from spring sports such as men and women's lacrosse, baseball, softball, and golf all answered questions from media about their upcoming seasons. I caught up with some of the spring sport coaches, and they each told me how excited they are for the start of their seasons.
I think after losing our last game, getting postponed, I think the guys are itching, and so, they've worked really hard all year, so they want to get out and play somebody else instead of beating each other up. But all that being said, we know Loyola, obviously a very good team. Game went to overtime with them last year and had to come back to win, so great program.
Ready to go. This group had a great fall. A great preseason despite the beautiful weather that we've had, and they're ready to go. I think we're ready to be tested too, and to see what more we need to learn about ourselves. We're playing a great team for our opener against Syracuse, who beat us pretty good last year, and so we know what we're up for. We know it's going to be a battle. It's always a great game.
Specifically going into the 2026 season, I'm really excited. We've done a lot of really hard work, more on the offensive side of the ball this offseason, and we've seen some of our players really elevate their offensive game, so I'm excited to see them go execute that against our opponents this year and hopefully show our opponents something that maybe they're not expecting from us.
Meantime, some exciting news from the hockey rink as Capitals legend Alex Ovechkin made history recently as he moved to 5th all-time for the most points with a single franchise at 1,670 in the team's game against the New York Islanders. The Russian native passed Wayne Gretzky while achieving this milestone. Ovechkin and the rest of the team will take the ice next versus the Nashville Predators tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Wizards fell to the New York Knicks last night, 132-101. The next opponent will be the Detroit Pistons tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. From College Park, Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, thanks, Simon. Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with winds around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, it'll be sunny with a high of 32. Friday, to kick off the weekend, is going to be 35 degrees, but we have a 30% chance of snow after 1 p.m. Saturday will be sunny and blistery. We'll have a high of 26 and a low of 10.
And for our community calendar, this Saturday, Melody Robinson and family is hosting their 10th annual pre-Super Bowl line dance party. Rep your favorite team and bring your fans for a fun night of dancing, games, a special guest performance, and a cash bar. This event takes place from 7 to 11 p.m. at the Marlboro Moose Lodge. And for tickets or more information, visit eventbrite.com.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.